On Friday's labor report, President Biden said that Bidenomics is growing the economy, but recent polls showing Americans not on board with the president's economic plan. Joining us right now is the National Economic Council Director, Lael Brainard. She previously served as vice chair of the Federal Reserve. And Lael, I want to thank you for your patience as that conversation went on, and we appreciate having you on the program. Speak to this, though, because I think, there's a lot of folks who've been waking up to headlines of poll results over the weekend as it relates to Bidenomics versus, frankly, Trumponomics, and where he stands, the president that is, compared to where the where the former president stands in terms of how people are thinking about the economy and how, frankly, unhappy they remain about the economy.
Look, if I look around the world, I don't think there's a leader out there who wouldn't rather have the economic record that President Biden has today. We have been growing 3% over the past year. We've had unemployment down below 4% for 21 months in a row. Real incomes are growing. Wealth, this is remarkable, wealth is up 37% for the median household since before the pandemic. And we're growing faster and have lower inflation than any other advanced economy in the world. So the statistics, I think, are very strong. Now, people have been through a very challenging few years between the pandemic and then the oil price spikes associated with Russia's war. It's going to take a while for them to feel really confident. But if you look at surveys, 70% of Americans feel like their personal finances are better now than they were before. We still got to work on kitchen table economics. There's still a lot of Americans sitting around their kitchen tables with costs of medicine, pharmaceuticals that are still too high, and we're working on that.
So, Lael, what do you do about that? Because it's, sometimes people say, well, it's a messaging issue, and look at the numbers. And I even made the point in the last hour that on a relative basis, those numbers look quite good. But on a day-to-day basis, clearly those who are participating in these polls, and I don't know if you believe the poll results, clearly feel something very different.
Again, I think we have 3% growth over the last 3 years and over the last year. And inflation is down by 60%. A year ago, a consensus of forecasters said that to get inflation where it is today, down to where it is today, you'd need to see 4.5% unemployment and no growth over the last year. So I think the economy is performing exceptionally well. My sense is that Americans really like the president's policies. When you survey policies like bringing insulin prices down to $35, down from $400 a month, they like that. They like bringing prescription drug prices down. They like protecting Social Security. They like a fairer tax system. So it may take a while for Americans to feel really secure, but both the policies and the economic record are very strong.
How concerned are you that come 2024, we are walking our way into a recession?
So we are seeing data that is causing most forecasters to take recession calls off the table. If you look at the jobs numbers from Friday, we're now seeing job creation about 200,000 per month, a very sustainable level. And if you look at what's going on with the job market, what is so interesting is that labor supply has been increasing at twice the pace of the year before the pandemic. So what's really going on is we're seeing a more balanced labor market because so many more people are coming back into the labor force at a time when job satisfaction is very high. Those are reasons, that plus productivity growth being strong, those are reasons to be optimistic.
Your sense, and I know there is hopefully a divide between yourselves and the Federal Reserve, but given that you've worked there as well, your sense of how they may be thinking about interest rates come both December, or do you think that hiking rates is off the table now for the long term?
So, as an administration, we are very respectful of the Fed's independence. What I will say is when I look at the jobs numbers, that pace of job creation, the increase in the labor supply, cooling in wage growth, all of those things suggest that the economy is coming to a point of sustainable growth.
Talking about sustainable growth and just the economics of the country, one of the other big issues that has been put back on the table, and frankly it never went away, is just our debt and deficits. But increasingly in the headlines and a spotlight on it, especially as we now think about the war that continues in Ukraine, the war in Israel now, concerns over what's happening in Taiwan with China. How do you layer in that sort of thought process as it relates to the economy and as it relates to our long-term debt and deficit in the context of this election?
Well, President Biden is very much committed to fiscal sustainability. That's why just back in June, he signed a Fiscal Responsibility Act that brings spending down by $1 trillion over 10 years. That's on top of the $1 trillion in deficit reduction he's achieved already. And he has a plan to reduce the deficit by an additional $2.5 trillion. If you look at the recent deficit numbers, 60% of that increase is accounted for by a big reduction in tax revenues associated with the Trump tax reform. And so going forward, I think Americans, we see this in all the surveys. They want to see a fairer tax system. We put some good proposals on the table. We hope that that will be an item where we make some progress finally.